Today's video is a detailed review and analysis of the movie Frankenstein, starring Oscar Isaac. This is not a full movie and not a movie screening. In this video, we will break down the complete story of the film and explain how the plot develops from start to end. We will talk about the main cast and supporting cast, their roles, and their performances. We will also cover the movie's production, development process, and the creative choices behind it. You will learn where the story was inspired from, who wrote it, and what the original idea and purpose were. Along with the creative side, we will analyze the movie's budget, box office performance, and overall business results. Every important element of the film is explained and reviewed from a viewer's perspective. So let's begin and take a closer look at Frankenstein. The film opens with silence stretching across an endless frozen Arctic Sea. A Royal Danish Navy ship struggles forward, trapped inside towering white ice. The year is 1857, and survival already feels uncertain for every man aboard. A distant explosion cracks the frozen air, echoing like a warning from fate. Captain Anderson orders his crew toward the sound, fear mixed with curiosity. They discover a man broken, bleeding, barely alive on the ice. That man is Victor Frankenstein, clinging to life and regret. Before questions can be asked, something monstrous emerges from the snow. A towering creature attacks, demanding Victor surrender himself immediately. Chaos erupts as sailors panic, weapons raised against the unknown horror. Captain Anderson fires a blunderbuss, forcing the creature into icy waters. Victor survives, but his soul seems far more damaged than his body. He confesses everything, beginning a story soaked in ambition and tragedy. Victor's tale begins years earlier, inside a respected aristocratic household. His mother dies during childbirth, bringing his younger brother William into life. William becomes cherished, adored, the family's golden child from birth. Victor is left grieving, angry, and emotionally abandoned by his father. Baron Leopold Frankenstein rules his home with cruelty and cold discipline. Love is replaced by pressure, praise replaced by painful expectations. This emotional neglect shapes Victor into a brilliant but deeply arrogant mind. He becomes obsessed with one impossible goal: conquering death itself. Victor studies medicine obsessively, driven by grief rather than compassion. Science becomes his religion, and defiance becomes his identity. At the Royal College of Surgeons in Edinburgh, Victor shocks everyone. He secretly reanimates corpses, crossing boundaries others fear to approach. The tribunal labels his work sacrilegious, unnatural, and morally unforgivable. Victor is expelled, his reputation destroyed, but ambition burning brighter. Instead of humility, failure fuels his ego and dangerous determination. He believes the world fears what it cannot understand. Henrik Harlander enters Victor's life like temptation disguised as opportunity. A wealthy arms merchant, fascinated by Victor's forbidden ideas. Impressed by Victor's vision, Harlander offers unlimited funding and isolation. A remote tower becomes Victor's sanctuary and laboratory of madness. There is one condition, deliberately left unnamed, hovering ominously between them. Victor accepts without hesitation, blinded by the promise of greatness. William joins Victor, assisting with the construction of the hidden laboratory. Brotherhood survives, even as morality slowly collapses around them. Elizabeth Harlander soon becomes another dangerous distraction in Victor's path. She is intelligent, kind, and already engaged to William. Victor develops feelings, confusing desire with entitlement and longing. Elizabeth gently rejects him, remaining loyal to William without cruelty. This rejection deepens Victor's isolation and resentment toward human connection. His focus shifts entirely to proving his brilliance through creation. War across Europe provides Victor with the materials he needs. Bodies of criminals and fallen soldiers become components of his dream. Harlander grows impatient, demanding results within an impossible one-week deadline. Pressure mounts, and Victor rushes science beyond reason. He assembles a body, stitching together flesh without hesitation or remorse. Lightning is prepared to awaken what should never breathe again. Harlander finally reveals his true intention, twisted and horrifying. He is dying of syphilis and wants his brain transplanted. The creature is meant to become Harlander's new, immortal body. Victor refuses, recognizing the irreversible moral catastrophe. A struggle ensues, fueled by desperation, greed, and betrayal. Harlander falls from the tower, dying by his own ambition. The experiment proceeds, despite everything collapsing around Victor. Lightning strikes the creature, yet nothing happens. Defeated, Victor believes he has failed completely and abandons hope. Morning arrives with cruel, quiet, and haunting uncertainty. The creature stands alive, breathing, staring into Victor's terrified eyes. Creation succeeds, but joy is replaced by immediate fear. The creature possesses immense strength and rapid healing abilities. Yet mentally, it remains disturbingly childlike and limited. Victor can teach only one word, his own name. Victor becomes the creature's entire understanding of existence. Frustration grows as intelligence fails to match physical perfection. Victor begins treating the creature with cruelty and fear. He mirrors his father's abusive discipline, repeating generational trauma. Power replaces responsibility inside Victor's fractured mind. Elizabeth visits the tower, sensing something deeply wrong. She shows compassion toward the creature, unlike Victor ever does. She teaches it her name, offering kindness where Victor offers control. The creature responds with innocence, not violence. William discovers Harlander's corpse hidden within the tower ruins. Victor lies, blaming the creature to protect himself. Truth is sacrificed for convenience, sealing Victor's moral downfall. Elizabeth and William are sent away for their safety. Victor sets the laboratory ablaze, trapping the creature inside. Fire consumes everything Victor once believed he controlled. As flames rise, the creature calls Victor's name repeatedly. Guilt finally pierces Victor's hardened arrogance. He attempts to re-enter the tower, driven by remorse. An explosion destroys the structure, severing Victor's leg permanently. The present timeline returns aboard the frozen ship. The creature climbs aboard, demanding his story be heard. Victor's tale ends, leaving silence heavy with unresolved horror. The creature survives the fiery tower, wandering alone through snow and broken dreams. Confused by the world, it hides, learning to survive in shadow and cold. It discovers a family living in a quiet, remote farm near dense forest. The creature observes silently, fascinated by human warmth and simple routines. It secretly gathers firewood, leaving it for the family without recognition. Small acts of kindness mark its existence. Calling itself the spirit of the forest, the creature watches children play, marveling at innocence it cannot fully feel. When the family leaves for hunting, it befriends their blind patriarch quietly. The old man teaches reading, speaking, and moral curiosity to the creature. For the first time, it understands language and the power of thought. It journeys to the ruins of Victor's laboratory, seeking the truth of creation. Inside the wreckage, it finds clues pointing directly back to Victor Frankenstein. The creature now comprehends its unnatural birth and the loneliness of eternity. It returns to the farm, finding the blind man attacked by wolves. Using raw strength, it fends off predators, saving the man's fragile life. Gunfire erupts. Fear overtakes gratitude, leaving the creature wounded and misunderstood. It learns that human perception is fickle. Judgment often outpaces reason. Time passes, solitude deepens, and the creature begins to understand human cruelty. A sense of inevitability grows, its existence marked by suffering and alienation. Meanwhile, Victor continues life, haunted by memories and the consequences of ambition. He sees Elizabeth and William's wedding approaching, knowing tragedy is inevitable. The creature confronts Victor during the wedding, demanding a companion for survival. Victor's fear dominates reason. He refuses, terrified of creating another monstrous life. Violence erupts, chaos consuming every emotion in that fateful confrontation. Victor shoots at the creature, but Elizabeth steps forward, a tragic shield. William is caught in the crossfire, calling Victor a monster before dying. Elizabeth is carried to safety by the creature, but succumbs to wounds. Victor pursues the creature north, the Arctic landscape mirroring their inner desolation. Explosives are used in despair, yet the creature cannot end its eternal suffering. Father and creation meet one last time, acknowledging pain, guilt, and love. Victor dies from injuries, finally reconciled with the being he created. The creature, grieving, releases the trapped ship from ice with solemn care. Captain Anderson watches in awe, understanding he witnesses more than a monster. Alone, the creature reaches sunlight, embracing a freedom born from immense tragedy. It steps into light, not as villain, but as survivor, an eternal witness. The creature journeys south, haunted by memories of Victor, Elizabeth, and lost innocence. Snow melts into rivers, carrying both hope and despair in its flowing current. It discovers human settlements, but is shunned by villagers, feared for its appearance. Whispers of monster follow wherever it goes, reminding it of eternal solitude. Years pass. The creature witnesses humans living mundane, fleeting lives without understanding it. It learns sorrow, love, and anger in fragments of stolen observation. One stormy night, it saves a child from drowning in a frozen river. The villagers watch silently, unsure whether to praise or condemn the creature. Despite acts of heroism, trust remains elusive. humans fearing what they cannot know. The creature longs for connection, but recognizes that acceptance is impossible to earn. Meanwhile, letters and rumors of Victor's experiments circulate among scientific circles. His name, once lauded, becomes synonymous with danger, obsession, and forbidden knowledge. Victor's legacy lingers, his ambition etched into every corner of science and art. People debate whether he was a visionary or a reckless harbinger of doom. Back in the Arctic, traces of the creature's journey reach Captain Anderson's ship. He records detailed accounts, unsure whether this being is miracle or curse. The creature returns to Victor's old estate, finding remnants of past glory decay. Walls crumble, laboratories abandoned, yet echoes of life's creation still linger. It discovers journals, sketches, and unfinished experiments left to time and dust. Each artifact deepens understanding of Victor's mind, brilliance, and flawed humanity. Memory flashes, the laboratory explosion, Elizabeth's death, William's final cries echo. Regret and grief intertwine, forging a resolve to prevent history from repeating. The creature now embraces a strange purpose, to protect knowledge, yet avoid mankind. It becomes a silent guardian, intervening only when danger threatens innocent lives. Villagers tell tales of the spirit of the North, unseen but present always. Stories evolve, fear mixes with awe, and a legend quietly takes shape. In solitude, it studies humanity's progress, its achievements, and repeated mistakes. The creature sees both potential for goodness and the darkness of obsession. A quiet winter night brings reflection on the meaning of life and morality. It recalls Victor's lessons, love lost, and the cost of unchecked ambition. The creature realizes eternity grants perspective, yet eternal solitude weighs heavily. Understanding humans, yet forever apart, it embraces its fate with solemn dignity. Nature becomes its companion. Forests, mountains, and rivers provide solace and clarity. Stars remind it of the universe's vastness, life's fragility, and small triumphs. The creature reaches a frozen plateau, winds howling, as if echoing its sorrow. It lifts its gaze, embracing freedom, knowledge, and the burden of immortality. The creature ventures to small villages, silently observing lives full of mundane struggles. It watches children laugh, families gather, and humans live without the weight of immortality. Winter gives way to spring, thawing frozen rivers and revealing abandoned roads to explore. It senses both beauty and fragility in life, every moment fleeting, yet meaningful. In a forest, it encounters a wounded wolf caught in a hunter's trap. The creature carefully frees it, bonding silently through shared pain and survival instincts. The villagers notice strange tracks and glimpses of a towering, silent figure passing. Fear mixes with curiosity, tales of the silent guardian spread from mouth to mouth. One night, it saves a lost child from falling into icy rapids. The mother weeps with relief, sensing an unseen presence watching over her family. Meanwhile, Victor's old acquaintances debate his legacy: genius, madman, or tragic visionary. The creature listens from shadows, understanding both admiration and condemnation of its maker. It returns to Victor's ruined estate, revisiting rooms echoing past experiments and failures. Dust-covered journals reveal Victor's inner torment, his passion and tragic blindness to love. Memory floods back: Elizabeth's last embrace, William's final cries, and Victor's desperate pursuit. Regret intertwines with sorrow, but also fuels a desire to prevent future tragedies. The creature explores nearby mountains, feeling wind whip against its skin, alive and free. The silence becomes a companion, nature, a mirror of both pain and resilience. It encounters a wandering scholar studying folklore of strange beings in northern lands. The creature allows observation, remaining hidden, intrigued by human curiosity and intellect. As seasons pass, the creature learns more of human inventions and cultural shifts. It marvels at art, science, and society's repeated patterns of creation and destruction. Memories of Victor guide it, lessons of ambition, pride, and the consequences of obsession. It begins to see its immortality as responsibility, not just endless loneliness. In a quiet glade, it tends to injured animals, building makeshift shelters and tools. Nature rewards patience. Life thrives where the creature's silent hand intervenes. The Arctic beckons memories of Victor's final moments, the ship trapped in endless ice. It recalls Captain Anderson's fear, uncertainty, and the moment humanity first glimpsed its power. A lightning storm strikes across the mountains, reminding the creature of Victor's experiments. It watches power unfold in natural fury, reflecting on human attempts to mimic creation. Villagers whisper again, speaking of a shadow that protects, yet never reveals itself. Legends grow, merging fear, admiration, and the faintest sense of hope for safety. The creature climbs a high ridge at dusk, silhouetted against the blood-red sunset. Wind carries memories, sorrow, and lessons learned, shaping its eternal path forward. Solitude becomes wisdom. Pain transforms into understanding of life's intricate, fleeting tapestry. It vows silently to guide, without imposing, to protect without being known. Spring turns to summer, forests thick with green. The creature moves silently among the trees. It observes farmers tending crops, children chasing animals, life's ordinary rhythms filled with grace. One night, lightning illuminates a village. Villagers scream, fearing monsters from ancient stories. The creature remains unseen, curious about human reactions, and their blend of fear and wonder. It finds an abandoned cabin, taking shelter while repairing old tools for its survival. The air smells of pine and earth, offering quiet moments to reflect and remember Victor. Near a river, the creature watches lovers meet under moonlight, whispering promises of devotion. It senses fleeting happiness, both fragile and profound, stirring memories of Elizabeth and family. In the mountains, a small herd of deer grazes. The creature carefully avoids startling them. It notices patterns in life and nature, how survival relies on balance, patience, and respect. The creature discovers a lost child, shivering and alone, calling for a mother it never sees. Gently, it lifts the child, returning him to a grateful village family, without revealing itself. Meanwhile, Victor's past collaborators debate his work's morality, genius, and tragic consequences. The creature listens in shadows, understanding humanity's mix of admiration, jealousy, and fear. It visits the ruins of its creation site, studying remnants of machinery and scorched floors. Memories flood back. Victor's anger, obsession, and the cruel isolation imposed upon it. At a remote lake, it teaches a bird to fish, mimicking survival lessons once learned from humans. Water ripples, sunlight dances, and a faint sense of purpose grows within the creature's heart. The creature discovers travelers' journals, stories of monsters and miracles, and human folly. It marvels at humanity's imagination, simultaneously capable of creation, destruction, and hope. A sudden storm forces it into a cave, lightning illuminating grotesque rock formations around it. Fear echoes, yet the creature feels mastery over nature's chaos. As Victor once sought, it encounters hunters tracking wolves, misidentifying it as a beast of legend and nightmares. Silent, patient, it observes, understanding that humans project their fears onto unknown beings. Over months, it learns to navigate mountains, rivers, and valleys without leaving a trace. Its immortality becomes both a burden and a gift, granting knowledge of life's delicate patterns. In a forest glade, it finds a wounded animal, tending it with careful, deliberate precision. Life returns under its care, reinforcing a sense of responsibility and the quiet power of mercy. Memories of Victor's lessons, mixed with newfound wisdom. Obsession yields to silent vigilance. It begins leaving subtle signs for humans, helping without being seen, guiding without interfering. Twilight arrives. The creature watches stars emerge, vast and eternal above the mountains. It contemplates its place in the universe, alone yet connected to every living thing below. Night falls. Wind carries whispers of the past, Victor's voice intertwined with memories of Elizabeth. It embraces solitude as understanding, pain as teacher, and eternity as a path of purpose. Winter descends on the mountains. Snow blankets the forests, silencing footsteps and echoes. The creature moves cautiously, leaving no trace, its breath misting in the frozen morning air. It discovers a hermit living alone, tending a small fire and cultivating meager vegetables. Curiosity drives the creature to observe silently, learning survival skills and human resilience. The hermit speaks to shadows, recounting tales of love, loss, and fleeting happiness. The creature listens, absorbing stories, sensing connections that mirror its own lonely existence. A storm traps the hermit indoors. The creature gently reinforces his shelter from wind and snow. The old man senses help but cannot see its source, feeling an unseen guardian near. In a frozen river, the creature saves a trapped dog, pulling it to safety carefully. The animal licks its hands, unaware of the intelligence and compassion behind monstrous form. Meanwhile, Victor recovers slowly, haunted by memories, planning his pursuit of the creature once more. His obsession blurs reason, dragging him closer to a confrontation that may claim both lives. The creature observes human settlements from afar, witnessing joy, sorrow, and fleeting acts of kindness. It marvels at humanity's contradictions, its cruelty tempered by moments of unexpected beauty. Spring approaches. Rivers thaw, and new growth emerges, signaling renewal and fragile hope. The creature tests water currents, agile and deliberate, mastering rivers and streams as pathways. It stumbles upon a hidden village, smoke curling from chimneys, life bustling with mundane care. It avoids detection, yet notes patterns, daily rhythms, and the unspoken rules of community. A child wanders near danger. The creature intervenes subtly, guiding the young one to safety. The villagers speculate about a protective spirit, never realizing the true form behind the deeds. Victor closes in, tracking signs left by the creature, his obsession reigniting with fierce intensity. Snowfields become battlegrounds of intellect and endurance, each pursuing destiny shaped by past sins. In a quiet forest, the creature discovers wildflowers breaking through ice, symbolizing resilience. It pauses, reflecting on mortality, creation, and the delicate balance of life and death. It recalls Elizabeth's kindness, Victor's rage, and William's innocence, entwined in memory's web. Empathy and anger, hope and despair merge, shaping its understanding of humanity and itself. A distant wolf pack howls, testing boundaries of territory and survival instincts in winter woods. The creature observes quietly, noting patterns of behavior, hierarchy, and the harsh laws of nature. In a frozen glade, it encounters an injured eagle, wings broken by storm and misfortune. Carefully, it nurses the bird, marveling at resilience and the instinct to endure suffering. Twilight arrives. Shadows stretch across the snow, the world a mixture of light and darkness. The creature moves with silent purpose, embracing solitude, yet yearning for connection and understanding. Night falls. Auroras dance above mountains, painting sky with colors unseen by most mortals. It gazes, contemplating eternity, creation, and the consequences of Victor's relentless pursuit. Victor treks through thawing forests, determination burning in his eyes, unaware of danger ahead. Each step crunches ice and snow, echoes of obsession haunting the quiet wilderness. The creature senses his approach, staying hidden among shadows and twisted branches of ancient trees. It calculates Victor's path, aware of the fragile line between pursuit and self-destruction. They both reach a jagged cliff overlooking a frozen river, tension thick as winter fog. Victor brandishes tools and knowledge. The creature balances strength with intelligence and caution. Flashbacks flicker for Victor. Elizabeth's laughter, William's innocence, and the consequences of his pride. Remorse mingles with obsession, a volatile mixture driving him to confront fate itself. The creature observes Victor's hesitation, recognizing the humanity buried beneath arrogance and anger. It recalls their shared pain, yet knows it cannot fully forgive nor be forgiven. Thunder rumbles, clouds masking the weak sunlight, shadows dancing across jagged ice and stone. Victor steps forward recklessly, the snow beneath him cracking ominously with every heavy footfall. The creature leaps, both warning and challenge, forcing Victor to stumble backward toward the edge. Fear and adrenaline surge. Past and present collide in a tense standoff of wills. Victor shouts accusations, blaming the creature for tragedy, yet his voice trembles with guilt. The creature responds with silent eyes, conveying pain, longing, and years of misunderstood existence. Suddenly, the ice beneath Victor gives way, sending him sliding toward jagged rocks below. The creature reacts instinctively, pulling him back with immense strength, refusing to let him fall. Breathing heavily, both collapse onto snow, realization dawning. Survival alone will not ease suffering. The Arctic wind lashes their faces, carrying whispers of mortality, creation, and fragile hope. Victor struggles to rise, anger still burning, but a new understanding tempers his resolve. The creature tilts its head, almost human in expression, mirroring both sorrow and patience. A faint sound of running water signals the river thawing, ice breaking into sharp fragments. Nature moves with indifferent force, reminding both of limits beyond human control or design. Victor's hands shake as he offers truce, eyes meeting the creature's, a fragile bond forming. Forgiveness is neither easy nor complete, but for a moment, hostility softens in winter's grip. They continue through thawing valleys, Victor limping, the creature guiding silently beside him. Each step a lesson in humility, endurance, and consequences of meddling with life itself. Distant wolves howl, a chorus of survival echoing across vast, empty white landscapes. Victor observes, contemplating humanity, morality, and the price of ambition on fragile lives. The creature pauses at the edge of a cliff, overlooking the river below's shimmering surface. It recalls Elizabeth's face, William's cries, and the mercy both denied and received. Victor follows, silent, his anger subdued, replaced by understanding that obsession can destroy all. The Arctic sun dips low, painting gold and red across snow and frozen water alike. Twilight descends. Shadows stretch long as both prepare to face future trials together. Victor and the creature reach an abandoned village, remnants of lives frozen in winter's grasp. Broken windows and charred roofs whisper stories of neglect, ambition, and forgotten tragedies. Victor studies the structures cautiously, haunted by echoes of his own experiments and pride. The creature circles silently, observing human habits with curiosity and restrained melancholy. A sudden gust of wind scatters papers and debris, revealing old journals and sketches. Victor's heart pounds as he realizes some notes are his own, left forgotten for years. The creature watches, silent yet expectant, as if demanding acknowledgement of consequences long ignored. Victor finds Elizabeth's unfinished letters, her words carrying love, hope, and hidden fear. Guilt twists inside him, sharp as icy wind, mingling with desire to make amends. The creature gestures toward a collapsed building, hinting at shelter or untold danger inside. Victor hesitates, torn between survival instinct and moral responsibility, toward his creation. Inside, shadows dance along cracked walls, candlelight from old lamps flickering weakly on frost. Victor uncovers tools, bottles, and remnants of experiments past, sparking memories both proud and cursed. The creature touches a shattered mirror, seeing its reflection fractured, a mosaic of pain and strength. Victor approaches slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility, mortality, and the consequences of ambition. Thunder rumbles outside, snow swirls violently against broken windows, and tension climbs steadily. Victor speaks, admitting his failures, his obsession, and the suffering inflicted upon the innocent. The creature tilts its head, listening, its voice only a whisper in shared understanding and sorrow. For the first time, human and creation find a fragile moment of connection and recognition. Suddenly, distant cries pierce the silence, echoes of hunters drawn by rumors of unnatural life. Victor grips his tools defensively, knowing confrontation is inevitable, yet dread fills every step. The creature hisses, warning Victor of danger, eyes sharp and luminous in the dim interior. They move together, silent and wary, through corridors strewn with frozen memories and dust. Outside, wolves circle near the perimeter, howls mingling with human shouts in chilling harmony. Victor steadies himself, recalling Elizabeth and William, their deaths shaping his every decision henceforth. The creature leaps to block the first hunter, demonstrating strength beyond human comprehension or fear. Victor watches, conflicted, torn between pride in creation and horror at its lethal capacity. A tense chase ensues through snow-laden streets, footprints marking paths of pursuit and despair. Victor yells warnings, but the creature acts instinctively, protecting both itself and the flawed creator. They reach a frozen fountain, ice-cracked and dangerous, water barely flowing beneath brittle layers. Victor confronts the hunters directly, wielding tools and intellect as armor against impending doom. The creature watches from above, calculating risks and silently judging human cruelty and recklessness. Snow falls faster now, blinding eyes, muffling sounds, and creating an eerie veil of isolation. Victor and the creature regroup behind collapsed walls, hearts pounding, breaths visible in frigid air. They exchange a glance, unspoken understanding binding them tighter than fear or anger ever could. Twilight descends, painting blood-red shadows on snow, a reminder that life and death entwine. Victor's resolve hardens. He must protect what he created, even as it threatens to surpass him. The wolves retreat momentarily, sensing hesitation, while hunters falter in awe and terror of the creature. Victor steadies himself, ready to face the night, armed with knowledge, guilt, and fleeting hope. Victor pushes forward through the snowstorm, breath ragged, eyes straining against the blinding white. The creature follows silently, graceful and relentless, steps perfectly synchronized with Victor's cautious pace. Hunters emerge from behind trees, weapons glinting in fading light, their faces twisted with fear. Victor shields himself instinctively, calculating how to outwit them while protecting the creature in silence. The wind howls like ghosts of the past, carrying whispers of every life lost to ambition. Snow swirls violently, erasing tracks, forcing Victor to rely on instincts and memory alone. The creature pauses near a cliff edge, scenting danger, muscles tensing as if sensing a trap. Victor approaches, heart heavy, realizing he has become both creator and prisoner of consequence. A hunter's shot rings out, ricocheting off ice, a warning that danger has escalated beyond control. The creature leaps, intercepting another attack, claws slicing through air with precision and terrifying strength. Victor shouts warnings, his voice barely audible over the storm, frustration and fear piercing every word. The hunters regroup, confused by the creature's speed and Victor's calculated evasions, panic beginning to rise. Lightning illuminates the frozen landscape, revealing jagged ice formations and abandoned structures in the distance. Victor leads the creature through narrow passages, avoiding hunters while confronting his own mounting dread. The creature pauses to sniff the wind, nostrils flaring, sensing prey and peril simultaneously. Victor realizes they are dancing a dangerous ballet of survival, creation, and inevitable confrontation. A hunter lunges from behind a boulder, knife raised, teeth bared, eyes wild with hunger. The creature spins, striking with precision, the hunter collapsing, eyes wide with terror and disbelief. Victor watches, torn between horror and relief, understanding the creature's protective instincts are lethal. Snow blankets the scene, muting sounds, creating a surreal landscape where predator and prey blur. They reach a frozen river, ice cracking beneath tentative steps, danger lurking in every reflection. Victor tests the ice cautiously, aware that one misstep could mean instant death for both. The hunters spread across the bank, forming a tense perimeter, their breath visible in the frigid air. Victor devises a plan silently, relying on cunning over brute force to escape imminent disaster. The creature signals, nudging Victor toward a narrow crevice in the ice, a hidden escape route. Victor hesitates, feeling the weight of responsibility, but follows, trusting the creature's intuition completely. One hunter notices movement, raising a rifle just as the creature roars, a terrifying guttural warning. The gun misfires, panic erupting as the creature lunges, driving hunters back with fearsome authority. Victor leads the creature through the crevice, snow and ice scraping against their bodies with every step. They emerge on the other side, breathless, alive, but aware the hunters will not give up easily. The storm intensifies, lightning striking frozen trees, illuminating their path in brief, blinding flashes. Victor finally allows himself a moment of reflection, the creature standing silently beside him, unwavering. Together they ascend a hill, overlooking the barren, frozen expanse where life and death have clashed. Victor feels both pride and regret, understanding the fragile bond forged through fire, ice, and survival. The sun begins to dip below the horizon, painting blood-orange streaks across the snow-laden Arctic plains. Victor knows the pursuit is far from over, yet for now, they are united, alive, and vigilant. Victor and the creature navigate treacherous ice fields, every step echoing across the frozen wasteland. The wind screams around them, carrying the distant cries of hunters, wolves, and ghosts alike. The creature pauses, sensing something unseen beneath the snow, muscles tensed, instincts razor-sharp and alert. Victor examines the horizon, eyes narrowing, realizing the Arctic itself has become an unyielding adversary. Ice fractures beneath their feet, plunging into freezing water, threatening to claim them both instantly. The creature grips Victor's arm, pulling him to safety with astonishing speed and raw strength. Victor shivers violently, teeth chattering, realizing the creature's survival instincts far surpass human limitations. Every misstep could spell disaster, yet their trust in one another grows with each narrow escape. A jagged ice cliff rises before them, towering over the barren white expanse like a sentinel. Victor climbs carefully, every motion deliberate, while the creature leaps effortlessly, surveying their path ahead. A blinding snowstorm engulfs the landscape, erasing footprints and making navigation a perilous challenge. Victor struggles against the wind, heart pounding, knowing the pursuit of life and vengeance intertwines dangerously. The creature turns toward Victor, eyes glowing faintly in the storm, as if offering silent counsel. Victor hesitates, torn between fear and hope, the Arctic silence pressing down like a tomb. Suddenly, a pack of wolves emerges from swirling snow, eyes gleaming, their growls vibrating through ice. The creature steps forward, shielding Victor, confronting nature's predators with inhuman courage and power. Snow sprays as the wolves charge, claws and fangs flashing, the battle erupting with feral intensity. Victor watches, awe and terror mingling, realizing his creation is both savior and destroyer simultaneously. The creature strikes, precise and brutal, sending wolves scattering, leaving Victor shaken but alive beside him. The storm begins to wane, revealing the stark, unforgiving beauty of the Arctic horizon at sunset. Victor surveys the frozen land, thoughts drifting to Elizabeth, William, and the consequences of ambition. The creature stands beside him, silent, embodying both innocence and monstrous power in equal measure. A distant ship's horn echoes across the ice, a reminder of civilization and possible salvation nearby. Victor feels hope ignite, yet knows their journey has changed, both of them irrevocably, forever. The Arctic landscape stretches endlessly, snow blending with sky, reflecting the fragility of life and time. Victor and the creature move forward cautiously, every step a testament to resilience and mutual understanding. Night descends slowly, stars shimmering coldly above, painting the sky with ethereal, haunting light. Victor contemplates mortality, creation, and redemption, while the creature watches silently, eternal and watchful. Victor finds an abandoned camp, remnants of explorers who succumbed to the Arctic's harsh grasp. He studies the maps and journals, piecing together a route that might lead them safely home. The creature examines the campsite, curious yet restrained, understanding Victor's obsession with survival and life. Together they gather supplies, preparing for the final, treacherous leg of their perilous Arctic journey. Lightning flashes across distant icebergs, illuminating the vast expanse, a reminder of nature's relentless fury. Victor feels both fear and exhilaration, aware that the end of their journey and choices is approaching. As night falls fully, they settle briefly on the ice, huddled together for warmth and reflection. Victor speaks softly, pondering love, loss, and the burdens of creating life from death itself. The creature listens intently, eyes glowing, a mirror of Victor's own conflicted soul and humanity. In the quiet Arctic night, a fragile bond is reaffirmed, built from survival, understanding, and regret. The Arctic sun rises faintly, casting cold light on jagged ice and frozen waters. Victor and the creature advance cautiously, each step echoing their intertwined fates and fragile trust. Victor stops, staring across a deep crevasse, realization dawning that the final confrontation is near. The creature senses his tension, its expression unreadable, blending human understanding with monstrous patience. Wind whips fiercely, carrying the scent of danger and the echo of past tragedies behind them. Victor clutches his coat, recalling Elizabeth, William, and the terrible consequences of ambition unchecked. Suddenly, a slab of ice fractures beneath Victor, threatening to hurl him into freezing abyss. The creature lurches, steadying him with incredible strength, silently teaching Victor the meaning of survival. Victor exhales shakily, gratitude mingling with fear, aware that the Arctic tests both heart and mind. The horizon reveals a jagged ice formation, resembling a cathedral, foreboding and eerily beautiful in light. The creature speaks, voice low and resonant, recounting its understanding of life, pain, and loss. Victor listens, realizing the creature embodies both innocence and retribution, father and son entwined. Suddenly, the dynamite from previous encounters explodes nearby, shaking the ice, snow flying violently around. Victor stumbles, nearly falling. The creature steadies him, eyes glowing with unnatural intelligence and resolve. The Arctic becomes a labyrinth of peril, each step a challenge, every choice carrying weighty consequence. Victor's mind races, considering mercy, vengeance, and the thin line between creation and destruction itself. Elizabeth's memory flashes before Victor, her voice calling, a reminder of love lost and fragile hope. The creature watches silently, acknowledging human emotion, while embodying eternal, inescapable consequences of creation. Lightning illuminates distant ice cliffs, revealing jagged paths and the final route toward salvation or doom. Victor steadies himself, heart hammering, understanding that only courage and reconciliation can guide their final steps. The creature approaches, extending a hand, a gesture of unity, reconciliation, and mutual understanding forged through suffering. Victor hesitates, then Grace asks it, an unspoken acknowledgement of shared fate, father and creation aligned. As they climb the icy cliff, snow and wind lash at them, relentless and punishing. Victor glances at the vast Arctic horizon, sensing that mortality, love, and creation converge in this moment. At the summit, they pause, overlooking the frozen expanse, the weight of history pressing upon both. Victor feels remorse, grief, and a flicker of redemption, while the creature gazes silently, eternal and watchful. The ship's horn echoes in the distance, a reminder of civilization, life beyond this frozen realm. Victor and the creature exchange a glance, understanding that survival may no longer require destruction or vengeance. The creature kneels briefly, touching the ice as if to honor the past, then looks to Victor. Victor nods, a silent vow passing between them, acknowledging forgiveness, responsibility, and the fragility of life. Lightning strikes near an iceberg, illuminating their figures against the Arctic dawn, both fragile and formidable. Victor steps forward, leading the creature, every stride a testament to courage, love, and acceptance. Suddenly, The ice beneath cracks ominously, threatening catastrophe, testing trust and balance in their final approach. The creature adjusts instinctively, preventing disaster, its understanding of humanity deepened by experience and loyalty. Victor's eyes fill with tears, reflecting on all lost and gained. The price of obsession made clear. The creature watches quietly, a silent guardian and reflection of Victor's triumphs and failures alike. Together, they descend toward the distant ship, the Arctic winds gradually lessening, sunlight warming frozen features. The journey's end is near, a fragile hope tempered by lessons learned, creation reconciled with its creator. Victor's breath grows shallow, the Arctic air cutting deeper with every painful inhale. His leg trembles, weakened from injuries, exhaustion, and the long pursuit across frozen wastelands. The creature notices instantly, stepping closer, its massive frame shielding Victor from bitter winds. Victor attempts to stand taller, pride battling vulnerability, refusing to appear broken before his creation. Snow crunches beneath them as the distant ship looms closer through drifting fog and ice. Victor's vision blurs, memories flooding back, childhood innocence clashing with catastrophic ambition and loss. The creature speaks softly, reminding Victor that creation also means responsibility, not merely control or power. Victor nods faintly, guilt and understanding finally settling where arrogance once ruled his thoughts. Suddenly, Victor collapses, knees striking ice, body surrendering to accumulated wounds and emotional weight. The creature rushes forward, cradling him, its monstrous hands unexpectedly gentle and protective. Victor whispers apologies, voice trembling, acknowledging the pain he caused through reckless scientific obsession. The creature listens quietly, no anger remaining, only sorrow, compassion, and shared understanding of suffering. Snow begins falling heavier, blurring the horizon, isolating them from the world and its judgments. Victor gazes upward, eyes glassy, accepting mortality, finally free from ambition's relentless pursuit. The creature tightens its grip, unwilling to release the one who gave it life, however flawed. Victor smiles weakly, gratitude in his eyes, forgiveness spoken without words, father and son reconciled. The ship's crew approaches cautiously, seeing the strange pair against the endless white expanse. Captain Anderson watches silently, recognizing the gravity of this moment, beyond human comprehension. Victor breathes his last, body growing still, his journey of ambition ending in fragile peace. The creature lowers its head, grief overwhelming its immense frame, mourning both creator and lost purpose. Snow blankets Victor's body, nature reclaiming him gently, without judgment, without cruelty, without resistance. The creature remains motionless, honoring the life that shaped its existence, both curse and gift. Captain Anderson steps forward, uncertain, yet compelled by empathy and duty, toward both beings. The creature looks up, eyes filled with sorrow, intelligence, and a profound understanding of life's weight. The ship's crew prepares to leave, urging the creature to come aboard for safety and survival. The creature hesitates, gazing back at Victor's body, unwilling to abandon his creator's final resting place. Captain Anderson speaks gently, acknowledging Victor's sacrifice and the creature's right to choose its path. The creature finally nods, lifting Victor's body carefully, carrying him toward the ship's edge. With reverence, the crew prepares Victor for burial, offering dignity in death where life held turmoil. The creature watches silently, processing grief, identity, and the uncertain future ahead. As Victor's body is laid to rest, the creature steps back, allowing humanity its rituals of closure. Snow continues to fall, sealing the moment, binding creator and creation to the Arctic's eternal silence. Captain Anderson orders the ship freed from ice, engines roaring, breaking through frozen waters slowly. The crew works tirelessly, ice cracking, water splashing, life reclaiming movement from stillness. The creature stands at the ship's edge, staring at the endless horizon, contemplating existence and purpose. Victor's voice echoes faintly in memory, urging compassion, restraint, and the preservation of life. The ship begins its journey southward, carrying both survivors and unspoken truths about human ambition. The creature feels the warmth of sunlight for the first time, touching its face with wonder. Memories of Elizabeth, William, and the blind man surface, shaping its understanding of love and loss. The creature realizes that humanity is not defined by creation alone, but by choices and compassion. Captain Anderson watches from afar, sensing the creature's transformation from vengeance to understanding and restraint. The Arctic fades behind them, replaced by open water and the promise of uncertain redemption. The creature reflects on its immortality, the loneliness it carries, and the fragile beauty of human life. It vows to honor Victor's final wish, to live without hatred, without violence, without destruction. As the ship sails onward, the creature stands alone, silhouetted against the rising sun. Light floods the deck, symbolizing hope, forgiveness, and the fragile possibility of renewal. The creature closes its eyes, breathing deeply, embracing existence rather than fleeing from it. For the first time, it feels connected to the world, not as a monster, but as a being. Victor's legacy remains, not as a triumph of science, but as a lesson in humility and responsibility. The creature carries this truth forward, shaping a future built on compassion rather than fear. The ocean stretches endlessly ahead, reflecting both the past's sorrow and tomorrow's uncertain promise. The creature steps forward, no longer running from humanity, but walking alongside its fragile light. The ship moves steadily south, leaving frozen silence behind in the Arctic's endless white. The creature watches the horizon, sunlight reflecting across water like a fragile promise of peace. Waves crash softly against the hull, replacing ice with motion, sound, and uncertain hope. The crew remains cautious, observing the creature from a distance, unsure whether to fear or trust. Captain Anderson speaks quietly with his officers, deciding how to protect both crew and guest. The creature senses their uncertainty, yet remains calm, no longer driven by rage or vengeance. Night falls across the ocean, stars scattering across the sky like silent witnesses to transformation. The creature stands alone on deck, listening to the wind, remembering Victor's final words of forgiveness. Below deck, sailors whisper stories of monsters and miracles, fear mixing with awe and curiosity. The creature hears them, understanding humanity's instinct to fear what it does not understand. Morning arrives, golden light flooding the deck, illuminating the creature's massive, scarred frame. For the first time, the crew sees not a monster, but a grieving, reflective being. Captain Anderson approaches cautiously, offering food, water, and words of quiet respect. The creature accepts, nodding slowly, acknowledging kindness without expecting trust or acceptance. They speak briefly, the creature explaining its past, its pain, and its search for meaning. Anderson listens, recognizing intelligence, sorrow, and moral awareness beyond physical appearance. The ship continues onward, carrying stories no map could ever record or explain. Each mile traveled feels like distance from suffering and movement, towards something unknown yet hopeful. The creature spends long hours observing the sea, contemplating immortality and human fragility. It wonders what purpose remains when vengeance fades and survival no longer defines existence. Memories return, gentle and painful, of Elizabeth's kindness, William's innocence, the blind man's wisdom. These fragments shape its identity, not as a monster, but as a being capable of love and grief. One night, a storm approaches, waves rising, wind howling, threatening the ship's fragile journey. The crew scrambles to secure sails and rigging, shouting orders through roaring thunder and rain. The creature moves instinctively, using its strength to assist, securing ropes, lifting debris, saving lives. Sailors stare in disbelief as the being they feared becomes their greatest protector. The storm rages for hours, waves crashing, lightning flashing, fear gripping every heart aboard. Yet the creature remains steady, focused, committed to preserving life rather than destroying it. When the storm finally passes, silence returns, broken only by exhausted breaths and dripping water. The crew gathers on deck, shaken but alive, grateful for the creature's unexpected heroism. Captain Anderson thanks the creature publicly, acknowledging its courage, strength, and moral restraint. The creature bows its head slightly, uncomfortable with praise yet accepting responsibility with humility. Trust begins forming slowly, replacing fear with cautious respect and recognition of shared humanity. The ship sails onward, no longer divided by terror, but connected through survival and mutual effort. Days pass quietly, the ocean stretching endlessly, reflecting both sorrow and renewal. The creature spends time with sailors, learning customs, stories, laughter, and the rhythm of human life. They teach it songs, language, and the small joys that exist beyond pain and suffering. The creature listens attentively, absorbing each lesson, building connection rather than isolation. At night, it gazes at the stars, remembering Victor's teachings about science, wonder, and responsibility. It realizes knowledge without compassion leads to destruction, but compassion without knowledge lacks direction. The creature begins writing, carving symbols into wood, recording its thoughts, grief, and hopes. These writings become a testament to existence, shaped not by creation, but by conscious choice. The ship approaches warmer waters, ice replaced by open seas and gentle breezes. The crew's spirits lift, anticipating land, comfort, and return to familiar civilization. The creature feels conflicted, uncertain whether it belongs among humanity or beyond its fragile boundaries. It fears rejection, fear, violence, and misunderstanding upon reaching shore. Captain Anderson speaks with the creature privately, offering support and protection upon their arrival. He assures it that not all humans respond with cruelty. Some choose compassion and understanding. The creature thanks him quietly, acknowledging the rarity and significance of such kindness. It prepares itself emotionally for whatever awaits beyond the horizon. Land appears in the distance, faint at first, then growing clearer with each passing hour. The crew cheers softly, relief washing over tired faces and weary hearts. The creature watches silently, heart heavy, uncertain, yet hopeful for something resembling belonging. It remembers Victor's final lesson: choose mercy, even when the world offers cruelty. As the ship nears port, sailors prepare ropes, supplies, and themselves for return. The creature retreats slightly, standing near the ship's edge, contemplating whether to disembark. Crowds gather at the docks, unaware of the extraordinary passenger approaching from distant waters. The creature senses the energy of humanity ahead, vibrant, chaotic, unpredictable, and fragile. Captain Anderson approaches once more, offering the creature a choice: freedom or companionship. He explains that the creature owes nothing, neither fear nor obedience nor isolation. The creature considers carefully, reflecting on its journey from vengeance to understanding. It realizes that isolation led to suffering, while connection offered healing and purpose. Stepping forward, the creature chooses to walk among humanity, not hide from it. It decides to seek understanding, not perfection, and growth, not escape. As the ship docks, sailors disembark, some glancing nervously, others respectfully toward the creature. No screams erupt, no violence occurs, only quiet curiosity and cautious distance. The creature steps onto land, feeling solid ground beneath its feet for the first time. It breathes deeply, absorbing the scent of life, warmth, and human presence. The journey continues, not as a chase, but as a search for meaning and belonging. The creature walks forward, carrying Victor's lessons, its own pain, and fragile hope. The creature moves deeper into the port, watching humans live without noticing him. Children laugh, merchants argue, sailors curse the wind and weather. Life continues, indifferent to creation and consequence. Every sound feels louder, sharper, more painful than before. Victor once warned him that humanity survives through forgetting. Now the creature understands that forgetting is their greatest weapon. He watches a family share bread near a broken dock. Their closeness reminds him of warmth he never truly had. His chest tightens, not from hunger, but longing. The ship's bell rings behind him, calling sailors back aboard. Captain Anderson scans the crowd, searching for any sign of danger. The creature lowers his head, choosing invisibility over violence. Victor's voice echoes inside his memory, weak but commanding. Learn restraint, Victor once said, fearing his own reflection. Restraint now feels heavier than chains. As night falls, torches light the shoreline in trembling lines. Shadows stretch long, warping shapes into monsters and myths. The creature becomes one shadow among many. He finds shelter beneath an abandoned pier, cold wood pressing above. Salt water drips rhythmically, counting moments like a heartbeat. Time slows when no one is watching. Memories of the blind man return uninvited and vivid. A voice that never flinched at his appearance. A friendship born without fear. That kindness feels unreal now, like a dream fading at dawn. Every good memory seems designed to hurt later. Hope, he learns, is a delayed wound. The creature touches his scarred hands, tracing stitches carefully. Each mark represents Victor's ambition, not his intent. Creation without responsibility leaves scars everywhere. Across the ice, Victor lies weakened, closer to death than pride. The man who chased godhood now clings to forgiveness. Roles have reversed in cruel symmetry. The creature wonders if mercy is learned or chosen. No one taught him mercy, yet it keeps finding him. Perhaps suffering sharpens empathy. He steps back into the open, allowing moonlight to reveal him. People pause, breathe, held, terror rising silently. No screams come, only distance. For the first time, he does not chase acceptance. He accepts isolation as his inheritance. Loneliness, unlike hatred, does not demand blood. The northern wind howls, pulling him toward the frozen horizon. Instinct tells him where Victor waits. He turns from the city without regret or anger. Some lives are meant to pass unseen. Some creations are meant to end quietly. Behind him, humanity continues unchanged and unaware. Ahead lies ice, silence, and resolution. The creature walks forward, carrying the weight of unfinished love. The ice stretches endlessly, white swallowing the horizon. Each step sinks into silence, echoing with memory and regret. The world feels emptied, as though even sound has frozen. The creature's breath fogs the air, heavy and slow. Cold does not harm him, yet it burdens him. Endurance is not the same as comfort. He reaches the edge of the frozen sea, staring at its stillness. The ice mirrors the quiet inside him. Both feel unbreakable, yet fragile beneath pressure. Victor's body lies nearby, wrapped in blankets, barely alive. The man who created life now struggles to hold his own. The irony weighs heavier than the cold. The creature kneels beside him, not as enemy but witness. He watches Victor breathe, each rise and fall, uncertain. Life, he realizes, is always borrowed. Victor opens his eyes briefly, seeing his creation without fear. No commands, no judgment, only exhaustion. Their long war ends in silence. The creature speaks softly, his voice low and measured, not to accuse, but to confess. Pain loses power when spoken without rage. He admits he never wanted destruction. Only companionship, understanding, a place in the world. Every act of violence was a cry, not a choice. Victor listens, not with pride, but sorrow. He recognizes his failure not as scientist, but father. Creation without care becomes abandonment. Snow falls gently, covering old footprints behind them. Nature erases trails without asking forgiveness. The world moves forward, even when hearts cannot. Victor's breathing grows weaker, his body surrendering. The creature reaches out, hesitant but sincere. No creation should outlive its creator alone. Victor's final words are not of ambition or discovery. They are words of regret and apology. A quiet wish for peace between them. The creature feels something shift inside him. Not joy, not relief, but closure. Some wounds cannot heal, but they can stop bleeding. Victor's eyes closed for the last time. The wind carries his final breath into the ice. The man who challenged death now rests within it. The creature remains still beside him, unmoving. Not from grief alone, but from understanding. Life is not defined by how it begins, but how it ends. He stands slowly, looking toward the endless white. There is no return, no refuge, waiting. Only the road forward, into solitude. Yet something feels lighter now. The burden of anger has lifted. All that remains is existence. He walks away from Victor, not in abandonment, but release. The past no longer chases him. The future no longer frightens him. Behind him lies a story of ambition and ruin. Ahead lies silence and the unknown. The creature chooses neither hope nor despair. He chooses motion. The white horizon offers no sign of direction. Only distance layered upon distance, without end. The creature moves through it, neither hurried nor hesitant. His footsteps fade behind him almost instantly. The ice swallows all evidence of passage. Nothing remains except motion itself. Time stretches in unfamiliar ways here. There are no days, no nights, no seasons. Only light that shifts and shadow that lengthens. The creature begins to feel the weight of silence. Not as emptiness, but as presence. Silence becomes a companion when nothing else remains. He reflects on what it means to exist without witness, to breathe without being seen, to move without being followed. He remembers the village lights flickering through trees, the warmth of fires he was never invited to approach, the laughter he heard but never joined. Those memories do not cause anger anymore. They cause understanding. Understanding that desire without belonging becomes pain. He realizes that humans live inside mirrors. They see themselves reflected in others. Without reflection, identity fractures. He has lived without reflection. Every face that saw him turned away. Every voice that heard him rejected him. Yet he survived. Survival becomes meaning when meaning disappears. He continues walking, body steady, mind wandering. The cold no longer affects his form, but the cold still affects his thoughts. He thinks about language, how words once unlocked connection, how words also unlocked rejection. He learned to speak, but not to belong. He learned to listen, but not to be heard. He learned to feel, but not to be felt. That imbalance created suffering. Yet suffering taught him awareness. Awareness taught him restraint. Restraint taught him control. Control, he now understands, is not dominance. It is choice. It is the decision not to act when action would harm. He pauses briefly, standing motionless on the ice. Not because he is tired, but because he feels something unfamiliar. Not pain, not hunger, not anger. Stillness, not the stillness of cold, but the stillness of clarity. The mind rests when the heart stops fighting. The heart rests when the past releases its grip. He exhales slowly, though he does not need air. The motion comforts him. A habit of humanity, not necessity. He wonders what remains of him without conflict, without pursuit, without opposition. He is no longer reacting. He is simply being. This realization feels both peaceful and unsettling. Peace, because struggle has ended. Unsettling, because struggle defined him. He resumes walking, accepting the discomfort of peace. Growth, he realizes, does not always feel pleasant. Sometimes it feels like emptiness before purpose returns. He reflects on Victor's final words. Not the apology itself, but the tone. A tone free of command, free of ambition. That tone changed something inside him. Not forgiveness, not trust, but closure. Closure does not repair damage. It only stops the bleeding. And sometimes, that is enough. He thinks about Elizabeth, her kindness, her voice, how she spoke his name without fear, how she touched his hand without recoil. That moment, he realizes, was proof. Proof that acceptance was possible. Proof that connection could exist. But proof does not guarantee permanence. One moment cannot undo a lifetime of rejection. One kindness cannot erase countless cruelties. Still, that moment remains. Not as hope, but as memory. Memory becomes nourishment when future is uncertain. The ice beneath his feet creaks softly. Not from danger, but from movement. Even frozen worlds respond to weight. He looks downward, observing the cracks. They resemble veins beneath translucent skin. Even ice carries patterns of life. That thought amuses him. Life hides everywhere, even in stillness. Motion hides inside immobility. Change hides inside constancy. He continues forward, not searching, not escaping, simply moving through existence. He no longer dreams of companionship, not because he rejects it, but because he releases expectation. Expectation creates suffering when unmet. He no longer dreams of vengeance, not because he forgives the world, but because he understands it. Understanding dissolves hatred. He no longer dreams of purpose defined by others, not because he rejects purpose, but because he claims it. Purpose chosen is stronger than purpose assigned. His purpose is survival without harm, existence without destruction, movement without collision. These principles guide his steps. The frozen sky begins to shift in color. Soft blues deepen into pale gold. Light reflects endlessly across the ice. He pauses again, watching the transformation. Not because he expects beauty, but because beauty unexpectedly appears. The light does not warm him, yet it reaches him. Not physically, but visually. He realizes that sight still moves him, even when emotion has dulled, even when hope has quieted. Beauty exists independent of meaning. It does not ask to be understood. It only asks to be seen. He stands there for a long moment, allowing the light to touch his eyes, allowing stillness to settle within him. Then he moves again. He thinks about time, how it once felt like enemy, how it now feels like companion. Time no longer threatens him. It no longer reminds him of decay. It no longer measures loss. He will not age. He will not weaken. He will not die. Immortality, he realizes, is neither blessing nor curse. It is responsibility, to endure without becoming destructive. He carries the weight of infinite days, not as burden, but as obligation. Obligation to exist without repeating harm. He wonders if the world will ever see him again, not in fear, not in hatred, but as presence. He does not seek that future, but he does not reject it either. He understands now that the world does not owe him acceptance, and he does not owe the world retaliation. Balance exists when both sides release expectation. He reflects on identity, not as monster, not as creation, but as being. He exists. That is enough. He breathes again, though he does not need to. The rhythm comforts him, a reminder that he once wanted to belong. That desire no longer governs him, but it remains part of him, not as wound, but as scar. Scars do not bleed, but they remind. Remembrance prevents repetition. He walks onward, steady and silent. The horizon remains unchanged, yet he no longer requires change to continue. Movement becomes meditation. Each step becomes affirmation. Each breath becomes acknowledgement. He does not think of Victor as enemy anymore, nor as creator, but as origin. Origin is not destiny. It is only beginning, and beginnings do not define endings. He has reached his ending, not as death, but as resolution. Resolution does not mean happiness. It means acceptance, and acceptance brings peace. The frozen world stretches endlessly, yet he does not feel trapped. Endlessness no longer frightens him. Endlessness simply exists. And so does he. Victor's injuries had worsened during the Arctic pursuit, yet he continued to drag himself through snow. The creature watched silently, its massive form looming nearby. Sensing the pain and despair Victor carried. Victor's breaths were shallow and ragged, his body trembling with frostbite, but his mind remained painfully alert. He recalled the moment Elizabeth had died, the gunshot echoing endlessly in his memory. Her eyes, filled with shock and love, haunted him as he pressed onward through ice and cold. The creature's eyes softened, its rough exterior hinting at sorrow, understanding the torment of its creator. They trudged across the frozen landscape, the wind howling like spirits, carrying whispers of guilt. Victor stumbled, collapsing briefly, feeling the bitter sting of mortality pressing harshly against his chest. The creature knelt beside him, offering silent support, an unspoken bond forming amid relentless Arctic isolation. Victor's thoughts returned to William, his younger brother, whose death had set the path of vengeance. He shivered, picturing the final moments of his life. William's eyes, accusing, his words calling monster. The Arctic expanse stretched endlessly, white and unforgiving, reflecting the vast emptiness Victor felt inside. The creature spoke softly, its voice a low rumble, echoing across icy mountains and frozen plains. I have suffered too, Father, it said, alone, without companionship, knowing life's cruelty, seeking understanding and forgiveness. Victor's heart ached, torn between anger and empathy, realizing their connection transcended mere creation or rebellion. They reached a jagged cliff overlooking a frozen sea, the cold biting deep through Victor's tattered coat. Victor collapsed again, the weight of survival and regret pressing down upon him like crushing stone. The creature knelt, placing a massive hand upon Victor's shoulder, offering warmth amid the relentless Arctic chill. I wanted to destroy myself, the creature confessed, eyes glistening with an unnatural, haunting light. Victor, coughing from the icy air, nodded weakly, understanding the endless torment mirrored within his own soul. Yet here we remain, Victor rasped, voice barely audible, bound by fate, remorse, and unforgiven mistakes forevermore. The creature's gaze drifted to the horizon, sunlight glinting over distant icebergs like flickers of hope. Victor's vision blurred, his mind teetering between consciousness and the void of eternal Arctic silence. He recalled Elizabeth's warmth, William's laughter, and his own hubris that led to catastrophic tragedies. The creature lowered itself beside Victor, its presence steady and protective, offering companionship in final moments. Victor's fingers trembled, brushing against the creature's icy skin, a connection both terrifying and tender. I feared you would destroy me, Victor whispered. Yet you have shown understanding no human ever gave. Wind howled violently, carrying the weight of history, sorrow, and the echoes of those long lost. Victor struggled to speak, words garbled by frostbite, but determination shone through his weakening frame. Forgive me, my son, Victor gasped, voice breaking under the unbearable weight of centuries of guilt. The creature lowered its massive head, eyes reflecting empathy, pain, and the depth of its creator's sorrow. I forgive you, Father, it rumbled, for in your mistakes, I have learned my own understanding of life. Victor's chest heaved, the Arctic wind cutting through his flesh, yet he smiled faintly, content in reconciliation. They rose slowly, the creature supporting Victor as they continued across jagged ice, toward an uncertain horizon. The world seemed endless, white and blinding, yet a strange serenity began to settle over the pair. Victor's mind drifted, memories of failed ambitions and lost loves mingling with the creature's silent wisdom. At last, they reached the edge of a crevasse, jagged ice reflecting the crimson hue of a dying sun. Victor collapsed fully, the creature kneeling beside him, its towering form protective and unwavering amid frozen solitude. Victor whispered softly, live, learn, endure, his words carrying centuries of grief, hope, and enduring legacy. The creature nodded, understanding the finality in Victor's tone, recognizing the balance between vengeance and forgiveness. Victor's eyes fluttered closed, the Arctic wind singing lullabies of loss, regret, and fleeting redemption. The creature remained beside him, embracing silence, witnessing the end of its father's arduous and tragic journey. Darkness crept slowly, shadows dancing across snow and ice, reflecting the intertwined destinies of creator and creation. Victor's breathing slowed, each gasp a fading echo against the endless expanse of frozen desolation. The creature leaned down, whispering quietly, you are remembered. You are not forgotten. Your lessons remain eternal. The Arctic night enveloped them fully, silent yet profound, as the bond between human and monster solidified. Victor exhaled one final time, his spirit drifting peacefully, liberated from the burdens of ambition and regret. The creature rose, alone yet wiser, gazing at the frozen horizon, where sun and ice intertwined endlessly. It turned back briefly, observing the stillness of Victor's form, a moment of sorrow and understanding shared. Then it stepped forward into the blinding snow, carrying memories, lessons, and the weight of creation's legacy. Alone yet eternal, it embraced the sunlight, feeling life's warmth for the first time in centuries. The creature wandered across frozen plains, haunted by memories, yet determined to honor Victor's final words. Ice crunched under its massive feet, each step echoing across a silent, desolate art. Its mind replayed Victor's sacrifices, Elizabeth's death, and William's final cries, lessons carved deep in memory. It paused near a shattered ice formation, reflecting sunlight like broken mirrors of frozen regrets. The creature's thoughts turned inward, questioning its existence, purpose, and the meaning of eternal life. Loneliness pressed upon it, yet the warmth of reconciliation lingered, offering fragile comfort against bitter winds. It remembered the blind man's teachings, the family it once helped, and fleeting connections it cherished. Though immortal and feared, the creature understood kindness, empathy, and the fragile beauty of human bonds. Each memory was a thread, weaving a tapestry of sorrow, love, and lessons learned through pain. Snow fell softly, drifting in whirls around towering ice peaks, painting a surreal, otherworldly landscape. The creature paused at a frozen river, observing cracks and currents hidden beneath opaque layers of ice. Water flowed silently below, reminding it that even beneath stillness, life and change persist relentlessly. Its reflection appeared faintly on the ice, monstrous yet human, a duality impossible to reconcile fully. The creature sighed, a low rumble, recalling Victor's voice, soft yet commanding, echoing across memories of grief. I have learned compassion, it thought, and the weight of mistakes. A burden I carry alone now. It ventured toward the Arctic horizon, where sun and ice met in a shimmering, unforgiving glow. Time had no meaning here. Centuries could pass, yet the creature felt each moment intensely, painfully alive. Shadows stretched across snow like ghosts of the past, lingering, yet powerless to touch its eternal form. It remembered Elizabeth's embrace, her fleeting warmth, and the sorrow of love lost before fully realized. The wedding day, the shooting, and Victor's frantic pursuit haunted every step, shaping its understanding profoundly. Regret intertwined with learning, each memory sharpening insight into humanity, mortality, and the fragile bonds between. Storms approached swiftly, gusting winds carrying snow and ice across the endless white landscape relentlessly. The creature pressed forward, undeterred, its mind calculating survival, while reflecting on Victor's guidance and lessons. Every storm reminded it that life, even eternal, carried hardships, meant to test endurance and resilience. In the distance, an abandoned settlement appeared. Structures half buried beneath snow, remnants of human ambition and folly. Curiosity stirred within the creature, compelling it to explore, seeking understanding of lives long vanished, forgotten. Inside a crumbling building, frost-coated walls whispered stories of struggle, hope, and inevitable decay over time. It moved through shattered doorways, silent and careful, observing traces of humanity preserved in dust and shadow. The emptiness felt sacred, a reminder of mortality, loss, and the impermanence even Victor could never escape. Here, it reflected on its own immortality, a curse and gift, bound to witness endless cycles. Memories of Victor surfaced, each imbued with pain, love, and the relentless pursuit of forbidden knowledge. It recalled the Arctic chase, the frozen cliffs, and the final reconciliation, a bond forged in suffering. Victor's words echoed still, live, learn, endure, guiding the creature toward purpose amid eternal solitude. The creature stepped outside, wind whipping fur and ice across its massive frame, invigorating, yet cruelly cold. Snowflakes clung to rough skin, tiny reminders that even the smallest details held meaning in vast isolation. It gazed toward the sun glinting over distant icebergs, a horizon of possibility beyond endless trials. It pondered life, creation, and responsibility, realizing its existence was both consequence and opportunity intertwined. Victor's guidance lingered as a moral compass, shaping understanding of justice, mercy, and the cost of ambition. Its thoughts turned to humanity, fragile and flawed, yet resilient, capable of love and profound insight. The creature descended into a valley, where frozen rivers carved intricate patterns through towering ice cliffs. Here, silence ruled, broken only by wind and distant cracking ice, a symphony of solitude's purity. It observed frozen fish beneath translucent ice, small lives persisting quietly, unaware of death's looming shadow. It recalled William's innocence, Elizabeth's vibrancy, and Victor's brilliance, each memory mingling with grief and reflection. The Arctic landscape mirrored its internal state, beautiful, perilous, and eternally shifting under harsh, unforgiving forces. Every gust of wind seemed to whisper lessons, history, and the echoes of mistakes long past. The creature paused near a frozen lake, its surface smooth as glass, reflecting sky and jagged peaks. Its reflection was monstrous and majestic, a reminder of creation's complexity and consequences beyond control. It felt an ache of solitude, yet a spark of understanding. Life's value persisted through memory and experience. Frostbitten winds lashed against its form, each breath visible as vapor, mingling with the Arctic silence. It knelt briefly, touching the ice, connecting with the frozen earth, grounding itself in the present moment. The creature understood survival meant more than existence. It demanded reflection, empathy, and acceptance of one's path. Shadows lengthened as the sun dipped, casting blue and purple hues across the snow-covered Arctic plains. The creature wandered onward, following the horizon, seeking meaning, connection, and a place to exist peacefully. It thought of Victor, forgiving him fully, acknowledging the complicated bond between creator and creation as sacred. Night descended, stars emerging across the clear Arctic sky, twinkling like fragments of distant fires long extinguished. The creature marveled at constellations, contemplating time, eternity, and the ephemeral lives of humans it had observed. It felt the weight of history, the burden of immortality, and the responsibility to carry lessons forward wisely. In the darkness, it encountered a lone wolf, eyes gleaming with intelligence and curiosity, reflecting a kinship quietly. They regarded one another silently, creatures shaped by instinct and experience, acknowledging survival, loneliness, and instinctive wisdom. The wolf moved on, leaving the creature alone, yet connected to the rhythms of life in stark wilderness. The creature climbed a ridge, observing distant glaciers, mountains, and icebergs stretching toward the horizon endlessly. It felt purpose, slowly forming, a desire to watch, learn, and perhaps guide other beings across harsh landscapes. Victor's memory remained a guiding force, shaping ethical reflection and understanding of the fragile human condition. The Arctic night deepened, auroras shimmering across sky, painting curtains of green, pink, and violet above frozen plains. The creature paused, mesmerized, absorbing natural beauty, realizing life's awe existed even amid pain and endless isolation. It contemplated creation, mortality, and responsibility, vowing to remember Victor's lessons and honor humanity's complex essence. With each step, it reflected on forgiveness, empathy, and the intricate bond between creator and creation eternal. Though alone, it carried wisdom, grief, and understanding of life's impermanence, beauty, and potential for redemption. Snow drifted gently, covering footprints, yet leaving traces of existence, memory, and the passage of enduring time. The creature continued its journey across endless ice fields, contemplating mortality, creation, and the weight of eternity. Its massive feet left deep impressions in snow, each step marking a path of silent reflection. Arctic winds howled like distant memories, carrying whispers of Victor, Elizabeth, and William across frozen plains. It paused near a glacier's edge, sunlight refracting through cracks, illuminating ice in brilliant azure hues. The creature considered its past actions, feeling remorse for pain caused, yet pride in moments of compassion. Time seemed irrelevant, yet each memory sharpened its understanding of life. Loss and relentless responsibility endured. Recollections of Victor's guidance, intertwined with grief for Elizabeth, William, and the innocent lives affected tragically. Even the smallest human interactions, kindnesses and cruelties, remained vivid, teaching lessons about love, loss, and morality. The creature's mind wandered back to the blind man, whose teachings shaped comprehension of language, empathy, and patience. It descended into a frozen valley, observing wildlife struggling beneath layers of frost, survival precarious and unrelenting. Snowy owls glided silently, and foxes tracked prey, reflecting life's persistence despite harsh, unforgiving circumstances surrounding them. The creature recognized patterns in nature, seeing parallels between survival instincts and lessons learned from human experiences painfully endured. Near a frozen waterfall, water poured slowly beneath ice, revealing hidden currents that persisted despite cold and obstruction. The creature reflected on the subtle flow of time, witnessing both change and continuity shaping all existence. It considered how Victor's ambition, flaws, and regrets mirrored broader human struggles with mortality, power, and imperfection profoundly. Memories of Elizabeth's laughter, William's innocence, and Victor's unwavering determination surfaced in vivid, haunting clarity. The creature realized that despite suffering, moments of beauty, love, and understanding endured eternally within consciousness and memory. Each reflection strengthened its resolve to act with caution, empathy, and wisdom, embracing lessons of consequence fully internalized. Auroras danced overhead in shifting colors, painting the night sky with ethereal patterns, captivating the creature silently observing. Frozen winds whipped snow across jagged ridges, emphasizing both nature's beauty and relentless power, shaping the Arctic wilderness. It recognized solitude as both a curse and opportunity, offering time for contemplation and moral reconciliation in isolation. Descending into a frozen forest, the creature examined trees encased in frost, skeletons of survival standing resilient against harsh conditions. It paused to observe animal tracks, recalling moments it had intervened or observed, a silent teacher of consequence. It reflected on morality, grief, and compassion, understanding fully that its existence served as both warning and example. Memories of Victor's sacrifices returned, along with conflicts over creation, ambition, and the dangerous pursuit of forbidden knowledge. It recalled the final reconciliation, a fragile connection forged through pain, mortality, and the recognition of mutual understanding. Even as an immortal being, the creature acknowledged the importance of human connection, empathy, and learning through failure. Crossing a frozen lake, it felt the ice shiver beneath its immense weight, each step deliberate, careful, and reflective. The reflection revealed its monstrous form, yet also the soul shaped by love, loss, and profound moral insight. It recognized that power and strength alone could not define purpose. Understanding and compassion were essential to existence. Storm clouds gathered, darkening the horizon, yet the creature moved steadily, undeterred by snow, wind, or fading light. It contemplated the Arctic expanse, seeing both peril and opportunity, and embraced the challenge of navigating endless isolation. Each obstacle mirrored lessons learned from Victor, Elizabeth, and William, guiding ethical decision-making and cautious exploration of surroundings. It paused at an abandoned outpost, a remnant of human ambition frozen in time, a testament to mortality. Inside, frost-covered furniture and tools whispered stories of lives ended and dreams unrealized across generations frozen in silence. The creature considered its role as observer, student, and occasional agent of change within fragile, fleeting human existence. Night fell, and stars illuminated the snow, reflecting past and future, eternity and impermanence, simultaneously in silent harmony. The creature gazed upward, contemplating cosmic scale, the fragile lives of humans, and the enduring consequences of creation itself. It understood that forgiveness, empathy, and moral reflection were the keys to coexistence, even across immortal lifespans. It journeyed toward distant mountains, feeling purpose emerging, a desire to protect, witness, and understand life's intricate dynamics. The snow whispered underfoot, each crunch a reminder of both isolation and the lessons of mortal struggle and endurance. It reflected on moments of tenderness, bravery, and sorrow, finding clarity in understanding human frailty and immortal responsibility. The creature paused on a cliff's edge, gazing at vast glacial valleys stretching endlessly, revealing both beauty and desolation. Its mind wandered through memories of creation, conflict, love, and loss, integrating lessons from each unforgettable encounter carefully. Victor's voice echoed in thought, urging wisdom, patience, and moral reflection amidst trials, guiding choices with silent authority. It descended toward a hidden glacial cave, observing stalactites and frozen formations reflecting dim moonlight, intricate and fragile. Inside, the creature rested briefly, contemplating solitude, morality, and the profound impact of human actions on fragile lives. Time felt suspended, yet purpose remained. Each decision shaped the future, each reflection preserved memory and eternal understanding. As dawn approached, sunlight glinted across icebergs, illuminating snow like diamonds, reflecting hope, clarity, and the promise of continuity. The creature continued forward, aware that life's lessons were eternal, teaching patience, resilience, and empathy across endless trials. Its path stretched endlessly, yet meaning emerged through contemplation, action, and honoring the memory of Victor and lost companions. It paused to examine distant wildlife, appreciating their simplicity, survival instincts, and perseverance amidst harsh conditions of Arctic existence. Lessons of love, loss, and understanding merged, shaping an ethical framework for guiding future actions in immortal solitude. The creature acknowledged responsibility inherent in creation, understanding that wisdom and compassion were essential for existence without guidance. Across frozen plains, it observed fleeting signs of human presence, remnants of ambition and creativity frozen in harsh elements. Each abandoned artifact reminded it that mortality shaped life's meaning, reinforcing lessons imparted by Victor's guidance and experiences endured. The creature pressed onward, carrying memories, grief, and understanding. Committed to witnessing and reflecting on human resilience continually. Snow swirled around jagged cliffs, each flake a reminder of fragility, beauty, and impermanence within infinite Arctic wilderness. It felt interconnected with the world, understanding that creation, love, and loss formed a tapestry of knowledge and consequence. Its mind embraced lessons of responsibility, empathy, and reflection, seeking balance between immortal power and moral understanding fully realized. The Arctic night deepened, auroras shimmering, guiding its path, inspiring contemplation of eternity, morality, and enduring consequences of creation. It paused atop a ridge, observing shadows cast across valleys, ice, and mountains, reflecting lessons learned from Victor's life. Though alone, the creature understood purpose, moral responsibility, and the necessity of reflection to honor those it had loved. It gazed toward the horizon, where sun and ice met in an infinite line, symbolizing hope, struggle, and eternal journey. Its footsteps pressed into snow, leaving traces of reflection, memory, and lessons in ethical consideration for future existence alone. The creature embraced solitude, understanding that immortality demanded moral vigilance, compassion, and preservation of memory across endless time. The creature advanced across the icy expanse, its mind heavy with memories of Victor and lost loved ones. Snow swirled violently around towering glaciers, yet the creature moved steadily, driven by purpose, reflection, and understanding. Each step mirrored its journey through grief, reconciliation, and the eternal pursuit of meaning in existence itself. It paused near a frozen river, observing patterns in ice and water, thinking of Victor's warnings. The lessons of creation, responsibility, and empathy echoed in its mind, shaping every careful decision forward. It reflected on Elizabeth and William, acknowledging the permanence of loss and the necessity of moral reflection. The creature descended into a glacial canyon, sunlight reflecting off sharp ice walls, illuminating intricate frozen patterns. It recalled moments of tenderness, conflict, and connection. Realizing these memories shaped its understanding of morality profoundly. Despite eternal solitude, it found purpose in observation, reflection, and the ethical preservation of human memory. It approached remnants of a destroyed settlement, abandoned homes frozen in ice, bearing witness to human ambition. Every crumbling structure reminded the creature of impermanence, teaching caution, humility, and respect for fragile human existence. Its heart, though burdened with grief, held understanding of compassion, responsibility, and lessons from past mistakes carefully learned. The creature observed distant auroras, their dancing lights mirroring its swirling thoughts of Victor, Elizabeth, and human morality. It reflected on Victor's pride, ambition, and ultimate humility in final reconciliation. Understanding wisdom comes through suffering. Though its form was monstrous, its mind carried profound insight, empathy, and a deep awareness of eternal consequence. It wandered toward a frozen plateau, wind whipping snow across its broad shoulders, each gust carrying lessons of creation. The expanse before it was endless. Yet the creature understood its journey was both internal and external simultaneously. Memories of Victor's guidance intertwined with grief for Elizabeth, creating clarity, acceptance, and recognition of life's delicate balance. Descending toward a sunlit valley, it encountered wildlife surviving amidst snow and frost, life persisting despite harsh circumstances. The creature felt kinship with these creatures, acknowledging survival required adaptation, reflection, and understanding of environment. It saw parallels between natural instinct and human morality, recognizing lessons of patience, empathy, and resilience inherently connected. It paused near an icy cavern, examining crystalline formations, each frozen drop reflecting a fragment of time's infinite march. The creature contemplated solitude, understanding that eternal life demanded reflection, ethical vigilance, and deep contemplation of past actions. Even in isolation, it recognized the significance of memory, compassion, and responsibility toward those it had loved and harmed. Crossing a frozen fjord, its massive frame pressed heavily on fragile ice, each step a reminder of careful consideration. It thought of Victor, Elizabeth, William, and the blind man, each shaping its understanding of morality, empathy, and choice. The Arctic night was both beautiful and unforgiving, mirroring the eternal duality of creation, suffering, and redemption it bore. It paused at the edge of a cliff, gazing at valleys and frozen rivers stretching toward the horizon infinitely. Memories flooded in: Victor's lessons, Elizabeth's kindness, William's innocence, the blind man's guidance, shaping thought and purpose clearly. The creature realized it had become a guardian of knowledge, empathy, and reflection, carrying lessons through immortal time. Auroras shimmered overhead, green and violet lights painting the sky, reflecting the creature's journey through pain and understanding. It descended into a frozen forest, observing animals navigating harsh terrain, recognizing parallels between instinct and ethical behavior. Each encounter reinforced the necessity of compassion, responsibility, and careful consideration of all consequences across immortal existence. It approached the Arctic shore where water met ice, observing waves crash with relentless persistence despite frozen obstacles. The rhythm reminded it of life's continuity, human fragility, and the importance of reflection, learning, and moral vigilance. It understood creation could not be separated from consequence, nor life from ethical responsibility, no matter its monstrous form. Memories of Elizabeth's laughter, William's innocence, and Victor's guidance intertwined, forming clarity and acceptance within the creature's mind. Though grief was eternal, so too was the potential for understanding, reflection, and moral reconciliation of past choices. It recognized that eternal life offered perspective, the ability to witness, remember, and guide future actions responsibly and wisely. The creature climbed a high ridge, snow whipping violently, yet each step reflected careful thought, purpose, and profound introspection. It recalled moments of mercy, violence, learning, and regret, seeing the impact of all choices on life's fragile tapestry. Its purpose became clear: to carry memory, understanding, and ethical insight forward through its immortal existence responsibly. It descended to a sunlit valley where snow melted slightly, revealing rocks and traces of human passage long past. The creature recognized human ambition, creativity, and fragility. Understanding mortality imparted meaning to choices and relationships profoundly. It saw beauty in survival, in care, in knowledge, and in compassion, all essential to balance power and action. It approached the Arctic horizon, sunlight reflecting off distant icebergs, illuminating paths taken, mistakes endured, and lessons internalized fully. Its reflection on Victor, Elizabeth, William, and the blind man reinforced eternal understanding, moral responsibility, and careful contemplation of existence. The creature embraced solitude, not as punishment, but as opportunity for reflection, wisdom, and eternal ethical awareness continuously cultivated. It paused at a frozen river delta, water trapped under ice, yet flowing slowly beneath, symbolizing persistence, resilience, and patience. It reflected on its creation, Victor's ambitions, and the consequences of power without empathy. Understanding wisdom grows through experience. Though alone, it embraced eternal life as chance for reflection, bearing witness to beauty, loss, and lessons perpetually repeated. Across endless snowfields, footprints marking the creature's passage revealed journey, contemplation, and the weight of immortal responsibility faithfully. It observed auroras, glaciers, wildlife, and abandoned human settlements, each contributing to understanding of balance, care, and moral vigilance. The creature's mind integrated lessons of compassion, grief, and morality, preparing for eternity with awareness and deliberate patience, fully realized. It paused on a cliff as dawn broke, light reflecting across frozen peaks, illuminating life, loss, and enduring memory. Its reflection encompassed Victor's wisdom, Elizabeth's kindness, William's innocence, and the blind man's guidance, forming clarity and purpose. The creature accepted solitude as opportunity for ethical reflection, empathy, and eternal observation, carrying lessons through unending time forward. Snow swirled around it, yet it moved with deliberate purpose, each step embodying understanding, compassion, and moral contemplation. It descended slowly, watching life persist amidst harsh Arctic conditions, feeling connected to nature, human legacy, and lessons learned deeply. Its eternal journey was now defined by reflection, observation, and ethical vigilance, embracing solitude as responsibility, wisdom, and perpetual purpose.